In this video I wanted to show you why I shoot RAW and why I prefer it for underwater photography. A lot of times on the internet when people are looking for their first new camera or first underwater camera, they're asking, should I get this one or that one, and what features should it have, and my response is always make sure it shoots RAW. Even if you don't know what RAW is or how to deal with it now, you may want it in the future, so make sure your camera does it. Basically, there's two ways for a digital camera to shoot. There's JPEG and there's RAW. In JPEG, the camera's sensor takes in the information, the image is processed inside the camera, and then it presents you with the image. With a RAW file, what's interesting about it is the camera sensor is actually able to capture more information than the camera can display or that your printer can print. So by capturing the RAW file, you're capturing all the information that the camera has, and then it's available to you to process with later when you get home. So if you were to shoot a JPEG of this scene and you end up with this green photo of this plane, there's not a lot you can do to it. You can try to adjust it, but it's not going to be very good. But by shooting the same scene RAW, it gives me a lot more flexibility in the adjustments, and my final adjustments are going to look a lot more natural. So let me show you how I can quickly take it from this soft green image here to this nicer looking image over here. So here's my original soft green RAW file, no white balance adjustment from the camera. My camera does have manual white balance adjustment, but I don't always use it, and in this case I didn't use it, so this is the image I have to work with. The first thing I need to do here is set the white balance to make this look a little bit more natural. And the way I do that is with this white balance selector tool. It's a really easy way to set the white balance really quickly. What it asks for is a target neutral. So it's looking for something neutral, and if you click on something neutral, it'll set the white balance against that. I know the tanks that this diver is wearing are gray, so that's a pretty good neutral. So just by clicking the gray tanks of that diver, I was able to quickly set the white balance overall in this image, and that's given me a pretty good result so far. Because I shoot wide angle and because I'm typically further away and my water is not as clean and clear as the Caribbean, the photos tend to be kind of soft from all the particulate in the water. So the next thing I'll do is come down here to the clarity slider and turn the clarity up. Now you need to be careful when you're doing this. In some images, if you turn the clarity up too high, you'll start to get halos around different details, and it looks over-processed and unnatural. This particular image, it doesn't affect it too much, so I just keep it up high. So that's clarity original, and then the clarity turned up. You can see that makes a big difference right there. The next thing I'll do is I'll go to the contrast, because I still, even with the clarity adjustments, I'm still don't have the nice sharp contrast between the lights and the darks. And again, that's just because of the crap in the water. So here I'll turn up the contrast. Now this slider you need to be more careful with than the clarity slider. If you turn it all the way up, it's going to do some ugly things to your colors, and it just doesn't look very good. So here I'll just add a little bit of contrast just to kind of punch up some of the details a little bit more. Now the next thing I'll do is I'll look at the blacks, and I can see that the blacks still aren't very rich and black. Not that I need everything to be fully black, but I'd like a little more richness in this diver. So if I look at my histogram, I can see that I'm missing some blacks down in this area. So it's real easy to fix. Just take the black slider, slide it down a little bit, and be careful not to clip the blacks. That's given me a lot more richness in the shadows of the blacks, and it's looking better overall. Now because I've done all of this contrast adjustments, I've kind of punched up the colors, and they're a little bit unnatural, not really how I like them to look. I prefer the images to have a almost black and white feel with just a hint of color. So it's real easy to solve with the vibrance slider. I'll just take the vibrance slider and pull it down a little bit. Pull it all the way down, you're basically a black and white image. So I'll just pull it down so I have a hint of color, but not too much color. Now because I've done some contrast and some clarity adjustments, which kind of want to bring out the details, it's accentuated the noise in the image a little bit. Again, I'm shooting ISO 400 on a small camera in lower lighting, so I'm going to have a little bit of noise. And that's not a big deal. You don't need to get rid of all the noise. So I'll slide down here to the noise reduction, and if you try to get rid of all the noise, you're going to end up with kind of this plastic looking image, which can be interesting if that's what you're going for, but that's not what I'm after. So I'll just turn the noise reduction up a little bit just to take the edge off the noise. I leave a little bit there just to kind of give it some atmosphere and a little texture, but that helps kind of soften the image up a little bit, but keeps the right kind of detail that I like. And the final step is really just a slight crop because of my dome. Puts a tiny little vignette in the corners, so I'll do a real slight crop on it. And that's it. There's your before and after. It's just some quick adjustments, mainly all up in this first panel in Lightroom. And that's gotten me pretty close. There's a lot more I could do with it using all the other tools available to me in Lightroom, but I just wanted to show you how you can quickly get from a unprocessed raw image to a nice looking image in a way, without having to mess with camera settings underwater. If you're interested in what I'm shooting these photos with, this is my setup. It's small, compact, and it works for me. It's a Sony RX100, which is a nice little camera. It's a small camera with a huge sensor, and the bigger the sensor you have, the more raw information you can capture. So this gives me a good balance of raw information and compact size. The housing's a Nauticam housing. The lens is an Einon wide-angle lens with an Einon dome. And I like this lens combination. It's very wide and really sharp. And that's it. I don't use strobes or any other things. It's just kind of a small, compact situation that I can use for kind of the darker, murkier crap I have to dive in. Thanks for watching. Hope this helps. If you can help me with any tips to make it go even faster, let me know.